Hi everyone, this is JD, your gadget review friend. If there's one phone that I can recommend this year around $500 to $800, this will be the Samsung S20 Ultra. Hi everyone, welcome to Gadget Rev. Now here we review all the new phones, and this phone is a 2-year-old phone, probably like the best value phone of 2019. Well, it's really expensive back then, but right now it's around $500 to $800, pretty good for what it can offer. This is 2 years old and our channel is a year old, but we're growing exponentially, so don't forget to subscribe. So I review a lot of phones from iPhones, Pixels, and Samsung, and this is one of the best value phone from 2019 until today, with like a complete package from the camera to the speed and even with the micro SD card slot. I like the creepy zoom that I can see my neighbors on the other side of the road, the fast and very snappy Snapdragon 865 with 12 or 16 gigs of RAM, and of course you will never run out of storage because it has a micro SD card slot. So today we'll talk about its value, the reasons to own it, and who is this phone for. Let's go to work. Alright, let's talk about the value of this phone. I bought the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra for around 600 Canadian dollars, the same ballpark price as the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So for that price range, I get a really good camera. It has a 108 megapixel main, a space zoom 100x periscope telephoto, and an ultra-wide lens with super steady video. Just by looking at the camera, it has a unique high-end features. The 108 megapixel main has an almost 1-inch sensor of 1/1.33. That's big. I noticed when I vlog using this camera, it gives me a little bit of natural background blur. The periscope lens is really scary and creepy. I can literally zoom into my neighbor's living room, bedroom, or kitchen. I mean, I'm not creepy, but the phone is. I can even zoom into a plate number of a car from afar. I think the periscope lens will be really good for wildlife. The ultra-wide lens has super steady video, perfect for content creation like vlogging. It gives you that wide 120 degrees field of view, and that super smooth video in active situation. The main sensor of this phone is the same as the Samsung Galaxy S21 and S22 Ultra. So if you use the main sensor quite often, you really don't need to upgrade. The biggest thing about the newer Ultras are the optical zoom, but if you're not using the periscope that much, I'd say you go for this. The performance of this phone is still top-notch, although the S21 and S22 Ultra has Snapdragon 888 and Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 respectively. This phone runs on Snapdragon 865 5G with 12 or 16 gigs of RAM. I tried playing heavy games like PUBG, Call of Duty, and Mobile Legends, and this offers ultra settings on those games. I didn't feel any stuttering. Do you know that the newer Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra only has 8 gigs of RAM? So even though it has Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, I think the 12 or 16 gigs of RAM will be better for future-proofing. Another great advantage of this phone for $500 or $600 is the micro SD card slot. This is actually a true story. I was actually contemplating on buying the S20 or S21 Ultra, and both of them was priced the same, and instead of going to the more recent S21 Ultra, I went to buy this because of the micro SD card expansion. In terms of speed and camera performance, I don't think there will be an advantage of S21 over S20, but in terms of storage, there will be. I do a lot of vlogging, install heavy games and apps, and the onboard storage will get full easily. So knowing this phone has expandable storage is reassuring. I know they already removed the headphone jack on their phones, but for the Ultra version, I think the micro SD card slot should stay, hence the moniker Ultra. Alright, so let's talk about the reasons to own this phone. First, let's talk about the AMOLED screen. The screen of this phone is amazing. It has a dynamic AMOLED 2X screen with 120Hz screen refresh rate. The refresh rate can switch between 60 to 120Hz, but it's not adaptive. It just forces the screen to go 120Hz, and it will kill the battery faster. This phone has 1400 nits that is super bright for outdoors. I love this phone when vlogging because even in bright condition, the screen is super bright so I don't have issues composing my shots. The battery life of this phone is great. I can easily get a solid 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. If 5G is off and it's connected to Wi-Fi, the battery takes longer to drain. This is an easy 2-day phone for me. If you're gaming, you'll probably need to charge it 2 to 3 times a day. Ito, nagre-record ako ngayon. Okay, love you, bye-bye. If I fully charge this phone and do my usual routine like watching videos, call and text, and some gaming, I will still have 40% before bedtime. It has a 5G connectivity, and if I'm using this outdoors, it has a fast download speed. I have issues with Chinese phones like Poco F3 for example. The 5G connectivity isn't that reliable because sometimes it drops and I lose connection. This phone has a very fast and reliable 5G connectivity. And lastly, aside from the camera and the speed performance, the build quality of this phone is really premium. I put a case on it, but I know if I don't, this phone can take some really good beating. It has Gorilla Glass 6 both front and back with aluminum frame, typical flagship phone, and IP68 rating, which means you can take it on shower and even swim with it. I have Pixel 3 XL before with IP68 rating and I use it for snorkeling. I know this phone can do the same thing, and with its great camera, you may be able to shoot great images and content on challenging situations. So for our last question, who is this phone for? First, I should say for people who wants to buy a mid-range phone for around $500 to $700 but wanted more. You may be better off buying this phone. This will give you so much more for a fraction of a price, and you may find this phone really good for what you need. This is also for people who wants to receive longer updates from Samsung. They are committing to 4 years of security updates to selected devices launched after 2019, which includes Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. That means this phone is set to security updates until 2024. This phone also supports Samsung DeX, so if you're using the desktop version, this phone is for you. There are tons of accessories out there that can output Samsung DeX. Recently, I reviewed the Ace Fast Charger that can output DeX, and I'm using this phone for that. And lastly, anyone that is familiar and loves the One UI 4. You know, I kinda dig it, to be honest, and I'm growing more and more to it. It feels the same as the native Google launcher. It only pushes all to Samsung apps. For example, when you save the password, it uses Samsung Pass. For payment, it uses Samsung Pay. But it's technically the same. It has the color palettes and the security for cameras and microphone. So what is Gadget Rev Now's verdict? Samsung S20 Ultra in 2022. Max out phones like Ultras and Pro Max are really expensive now, but the good thing about them are once it ages and go to the used market, they're still pretty good even 2 to 3 years old. I will not recommend this if you need the proper optical zoom of S21 and S22 Ultra. This only has a digital zoom passing the 4 times optical zoom, and the size might be too big for you, but I'm just plainly nitpicking. And I'll recommend this to anyone who has a budget for this. This is the best phone you can buy for $500 to $800. It's the same, let's say, Samsung Galaxy A73, iPhone SE 2022, and the upcoming Pixel 6a, but I strongly feel this is so much better. Samsung S20 Ultra 5G might be 2 years old now, but with its camera, the larger RAM, awesome screen, and micro SD expansion, this is the best value Samsung Ultra right now. And there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will continue to compare this phone in the channel, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.